Verb tenses depend on when the action takes place. So, what are the verb tenses? There are 3 verb tenses: past, present, and future tense. Past tense means it already happened. When I want to write a verb in the past tense, I add ed. But not all verbs follow that rule. She walked to the park. We added ed to the verb walk to show that it happened in the past. They danced to their favorite song. We added ed to the verb dance to show that it happened in the past. Again, not all action verbs like to follow the rules when we talk in the past. So that means not all verbs we can add ed to show that they are in the past. For example, we say, he slept for 9 hours. For the verb sleep, I don't add ed like I do with other verbs. I change it completely and say slept. Another example is the verb eat. I say the girl ate her dinner, not eat it. Present tense means it is happening now. Depending on the subject in the sentence, I either add s or es, or I just keep the verb as is. The cat scratches the chair. She writes in her journal. My sister cooks dinner. For all these examples, we added s or es to the verb because the subject in the sentence is singular. They look for clues. We dance together. For both verbs, we did not add s or es. We left them as is because the subjects in both sentences are plural. Future tense means will happen, and in that case, we add the word will before the verb. It will rain tomorrow. She will read the last chapter. We will eat the whole pizza pie. They will find the missing ring. For all these examples, it shows that it will happen in the future. So far, we learned that we have 3 verb tenses. Past tense means it already happened. The present tense means it is happening now. And the future tense means that it will happen. Thanks for watching.
Mason, go ahead and turn the lights back on. Okay. So last week we talked about present tense verbs and we talked about past tense verbs. Today we're going to talk about future tense verbs, and I'll tell you future tense verbs are the easiest of all. So these notes should not take very long. On Wednesday, we will do a quick review of all of them. So we'll do some quick notes, and then you'll do some independent practice. That'll basically be it. We're not going to go as in depth. We're just going to do some real quick notes. But today, let's talk about future tense. So, at the top of your new clean page, the title of today's notes is Verb Tense, Future Tense. Now I know your notes from Wednesday say verb tense, past, and future tense. Later on, you can erase and future because you know your notes from last Wednesday don't have anything about future. Yes, Mason? I think because it's a brand new, so that you can find things easily, like when we study for our quiz, go ahead and start a new page. Because I think you should have enough to get through the year. Because once you use most of it, you really can't you can't bring it back and use it again next year. So you can use it for drawing and stuff. So yeah, even for grammar, even if you have a lot of space, it's like when we start a new chapter in reading, you still start on a new clean page, just so it's easy to find everything when you're studying. Okay, and then of course you need the date, February 1st, 2021. So first, what is future tense? Well, we already know that, okay, let me tell you, Lena, when I write notes, if you see a bullet point, and I'll say start on the pink line. So you'll do the bullet point right on the pink line and then start your words right after. And then sometimes I'll have a dash, which will be like over here. There will be space. So you'll go to the next line and you'll go over a little. So that way it's easier to navigate. You can kind of see on Smith's kind of what it looks like. So just try to copy it exactly as I have it here, like with spaces and everything, okay? The only thing that'll be different is obviously I will probably have to go to a new line before you do, just because I have less space. But when I do a new like bullet point or dash, follow how that is, okay? Okay, so first, future tense shows that a verb will happen in the future. So future tense, just like its name says shows that a verb will happen in the future. It didn't already happen, it's not happening now, it's going to happen. To form future tense, just add the word will, W-I-L-L, before the base verb. That's it. So to form the future tense of the verb, you just take the base verb. That means the regular verb, no endings at all. And you just put the word will before it. For example, we will sing in music on Wednesday. We will sing in music on Wednesday. The subject is we. Is we singular, or is we a singular subject or a plural subject? Smith.
A plural subject.
A plural subject, because we means more than one person, right? It means a group. I'm included in that group. So what happens if you have a singular subject? Let's find out. The dog will eat his dinner tonight. What's the subject in this sentence? Who or what is the sentence about? Carla.
The sentence is about the dog.
The dog. Is that a singular or a plural subject, Carla?
It is a singular subject.
It's a singular subject because we're talking about how many dogs, Carla?
One.
One, the dog. And again, we have our base verb, eat, and we just added will. Sorry, let's underline those. And let's circle the subjects. We is a plural subject, but still all we did was put will before the base word sing, the base verb sing. The dog is a singular subject, but still all we did was put the word will before the base verb eat. What about I or you? Those are those weird ones where when it's like singular, when it's present tense, we still have to add, we still take off an S even if we only mean one person. Does it change for I or you? Someone think of a sentence in the present tense where the subject is I. Think of a sentence that's in, not present tense, I'm sorry, future tense, where the subject is I. Zari. Try something, don't say what I said. Say something new.
I will go to dance class tomorrow.
I will go to dance class tomorrow. What's the verb in that sentence? I'll give you a hint. It's not dance. If you were thinking it was dance, it's not dance. Victoria. Go. I will go to dance class tomorrow. Very good. Did we change that, Zari? Did we do something other than just put will before the base verb go?
No.
No, it's exactly the same. Who can think of a sentence with you as the subject? A future tense sentence with you as the subject. Zadie.
You will go to the movies on Saturday.
Think of a different verb, though. Like, take a second. Good, but it's the same. Since that's the same verb as Zari, let's think of a different verb just so we can see what happens. You got it, but just we have some difference.
You will be at my house on Saturday.
You will be at my house on Saturday. What's the base verb, Zadie? Think about it. There's only one verb in the sentence. Is it you? Is it at? Is it my? Is it house? Is it on? Is it Saturday? What's the only verb left? What's the only word left?
Saturday.
Is Saturday a verb? Is that something that you can do? Or be? But what is? There's only one word that I didn't say. Lena?
Go.
Not go. She didn't have go in that sentence. She said, you will be at my house on Saturday. Cullen?
Be.
Be. Remember, we also have being verbs that say something. They're not an action, but they say what you are or what you be. You don't say that, but. So, did we do anything to that sentence just because the subject, to that word be, just because the subject was you? No, we just said you will be. We added will to the base verb, which was be. So that's why future tense is the easiest, because all you do is you take the base verb, no ending, no nothing, and you put the word will before. So there's our notes. That's it for future tense. We were supposed to be able to do past and future on the same day, but that didn't happen. That's it. That's it for future tense. All you do is you put will before the base verb, no matter what the subject is.
You didn't have to erase anything.
Nope, that's it. Because again, we were supposed to be able to do this and past tense the same day, because does past tense change very much? Not really. But unfortunately, because we were not all here, that meant every time I called on a new person, it was basically like we were starting over. Because instead of following the pattern by listening to everybody else, they had to think of it all on their own. But I'm telling you, if you are listening when other people are answering, you will basically already have the answer. You just change the word or the number if it's math. That's it. Some of you have noticed that. I need everybody to notice that so that we can finish everything on time. I was wondering why it was taking us so much longer to get through lessons than it ever has before. And that's why. That's the only reason. Because I have to prompt everybody and walk everybody through it every time. When really I should only have to do that with like the first one or two people. And then everybody else is like, oh, okay, I know what to do next. I know what to do when it's my turn. Okay, so right now what I need you to do is I need you to get out your past tense guided practice, because the future tense is on the back. So read the first bullet point. Michaela. Did you print it out? Okay, I'll call on you later. Colin, read the first bullet point.
A verb in the future tense tells about an action that is going to happen.
Good. Mason, read the second bullet point.
To write about the future, use the special verb will.
Do we do anything else? Do we have to worry about the subject? Do we have to worry about if it's singular or plural or if it's I or if it's you? Do we have to worry about adding S's or EDs or anything? Nope. All we do is add the word will where? Before or after the verb? Do we add will before the verb or after the verb? Smith.
Before the verb.
Before the verb. Are we going to put anything between will and the verb? Think about all our examples. Zadie?
No.
No. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to underline the action verb in each sentence. So step 1, find the action verb. Step 2, rewrite the sentence so it tells about the future. So, let's see. There was something I wanted to say, but it slipped my mind. What was it? It was important. Oh, I wanted to say, will itself is actually a verb. Now, is it an action? Can you will? No, but it is a verb called a helping verb. It helps an action verb tell what's happening. So will helps an action verb tell that it's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. We're going to learn about helping verbs. I think next week we'll learn more about helping verbs. So will is not the only helping verb, but it's the main one when we're talking about future tense. So let's do number 1. Remember step 1, tell me the verb. What is the action, the word that tells the action in the sentence? The one word that tells the action. We're not finding a complete predicate. So we're not finding every word that tells us what's happening. We're finding the one word. Aaron's not here. Number 1, Zari. First, the sentence is, the teachers assign a project about the civil rights movement. Zari, what is the action? Oh, she's not there. Ethan, what is the one word that tells the action? The verb. The one word that tells the verb. What is the verb in this sentence? Assign. Very good. Because that's what they're doing. Are they teachering?
No.
Are they projecting?
No.
Are they abouting?
No.
Are they the-ing?
No.
Are they a-ing?
No.
Are they civiling?
No.
Are they writing? Are they movementing? Are they assigning? Yes. So the teachers assign a project. Okay, that's telling us it's happening now. How do we change that so that it tells us it's happening in the future? Does the subject change? No. So it still is. Make sure you write small so that you can fit it. The teachers. What comes next? Does assign come next? Well, we want to say it's happening in the future. We found the verb. What do we do to the verb to tell it happened in the future? Look at your bullet points or your notes. Both of those places will tell you what to do. Very good. Where do we put will before or after assign? We put will. Does assign change at all? Do we add an S? Do we add ED? No. And then does the rest of the sentence change? No. The teachers will assign a project. And then we don't have to add, but we know normally we would add about the civil rights movement. Actually, no, we're not going to be lazy. We're not going to be, that's lazy, right? That was me being lazy, wasn't it? Should we be lazy when it comes to our education? No. What's actually really going to teach us? Even though we're like, we know what comes next. What's actually going to teach us? Colin.
It's gonna teach us to not be lazy.
It's called stamina. The ability to sit and do your work, and even if it's taking a while, that's called stamina. And the more we do it, the better we get at it. It's like exercise. If you have never run in your life and you try to go run a mile, it's not going to go so well, is it? But what if you start by running like a quarter of a mile for a couple days, and then you add another, and then you do half a mile for a couple of days, and then you do 3/4 of a mile for a couple of days, and then you're like, I'm going to go run a mile. What's going to happen after you've worked yourself up to that mile? What's going to happen when you go run that mile? Colin?
You're not going to be lazy and get better at doing it.
So what's going to happen after you practiced and you built yourself up? What's going to happen when you try to go run that mile? You tried to run it without any practice and it was horrible. You couldn't do it. But what's going to happen now that you built yourself up? Anybody can answer this. A lot of you are zoning out. Zadie.
You'll be able to run the mile.
You'll be able to run it, and it won't even be that hard because you're only adding a little bit to what you've already gotten used to. So that's why it's important to not be lazy. That was legitimate. That wasn't a teaching moment. That was like literally me being lazy and then realizing, no, I'm not going to teach laziness because that would be teaching you guys it's okay. And, we can't do that. So the teachers will assign a project about the civil rights movement. I'm not going to forget my period or my capital letter, ever. If you learn nothing else this year, please, please, capital letter, end punctuation, subject, predicate, if nothing else. Number 2, the students work in pairs. Kingston, what is the verb in that sentence? Work. It's in present tense now. What if we want to make it future tense? What do? Does the subject change? No. The students, what comes next? Will. What comes next? Work. Does it change? Do we add letters? Do we take letters off? Do we do anything to work? Nope. And what comes next? In pairs. Number 3, all of the classes go to the library. Carla, what is the verb in that sentence?
Go.
Go. Very good. Now it's in present tense, but we want to make it future tense. So what do?
We will add will in front of go.
So what will the sentence say now?
It would say all of the classes will go to the library.
Good. All of the classes will go to the library. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe I should say this. I thought of one time where there will be a word between will and the verb. The only time in the 4th grade that you will see a word between will and the verb is if you're making it the negative. All of the classes will not go to the library. So that's the only time you'll see a word between. You might see the word not, which just means they're saying it's not going to happen. They're making it the negative. Okay, number 4. Cordell and Janine find out about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Smith, what is the verb?
Find.
Find. Very good. So it's in present tense now. But we want to make it future tense. So what do we need to do?
We need to put the word will in front of find.
Good. So what should the sentence say to make it future tense?
Cordell and Janie will find out about the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Good. Cordell and Janine. And make sure these are two what? Cordell and Janine are two what? Mason? Proper nouns because they're what? Why are they proper nouns? They're people's names. Are people's last names proper nouns? You can show me. Are people's last names proper nouns? Ethan, what are they? Are they proper nouns? Yes. Why? They're still the specific name of that person. So yes, last names are also proper nouns. What about middle names? Zadie?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's still part of our name.
Because it's still part of a specific name. First, middle, and last names are all specific names. You're tuning out. Don't tune out. We're here. Cordell and Janine will find out about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And notice, Voting Rights and Act are all capitalized because they are the specific name of a bill, a law. So Voting Rights Act are all capitalized because they are the specific name of a bill or a law. Number 5, Yvonne and Frank learn about educational rights. Zadie, what is the verb? Learn. So right now it's in present tense, but we want to make it future tense. So what do we do?
Right after Frank, you add will.
So right before, what? Because we're not adding it to the end of the subject. What are we adding will to? We want to say it a certain way so that we know we're not just going to add it to the end of the subject just in case there's other words. But we are going to add it to the, you're in the right place, but I just want you to say it in a different way so that it works every time. We're not adding it to the end of the subject, we're adding it to the, Colin, can you help her out?
We're adding it to the verb.
But where on the verb? We're not adding it to the end of the subject, we're adding it to the,
In front of the verb.
so what's a better word for in front of?
In the middle.
Do you know where I'm going? Can you figure it out? We don't add it to the end. What's the opposite of end? Front is the opposite of back. The opposite of end is beginning. So we don't add it to the end of the subject. We add it to the beginning of the verb. So Yvonne and Frank, those are both people's names, so they both need to be capitalized, will learn about educational rights. Okay, number 6. The librarians show us the right books and magazines. Wait, Kingston, did you already get to do one? Okay. Ethan, you already got to do one too, right? Colin, did you get to do one yet? Okay, Colin. What is the verb in that sentence? The librarians show us the right books and magazines.
Show.
Show. Right now it's in present tense, but we want to make it future tense. So what do?
We add will to the beginning of show.
Of the
Verb.
good, which in this case is
Show.
So what should the sentence say to make it future tense?
The librarians will show us the right books and magazines.
Good. The librarians will show us the right books and magazines. My handwriting is getting bad. Please do not copy that. It's only because I'm having to write like lower. It's harder to get down here without bending down. But then that hurts my knees, so. Number 7, Juan and Patricia give an oral report. Mason, have you done one yet? What is the verb in that sentence? Give. Now it's in present tense, but we want to make it future tense. So what do we need to do? Good, and you see how you started to say it a different way, but then you remembered because you were listening to Zadie and Cullen and whoever else, and you were like, wait, no, Miss Foles corrected them and said they had to add at the beginning. Do you see how that happened in your head? Would you have done that if you hadn't been listening, if you'd been zoning out when other kids were answering? No. So do you see how it works, class? If you listen, then you're like, no, wait, I remember Miss Foles said don't do it that way. So good. So Mason, what should the sentence say?
Juan and Patricia will give an oral report.
Good. And remember, Juan and Patricia are people's names, so they both need to be capitalized and spelled correctly. Juan and Patricia will give an oral report. Okay, number 8. Yes, Victoria?
What is
Oral means out loud. Like if I give an oral report, it's not like I'm not handing in a piece of paper. I'm coming up front and I'm telling you my report.
Will we ever do that?
No. You're doing an actual report on your president, and I've always in the past wanted to make it an oral report, but we just always run out of time. So. You may, well, no, I don't know if you will. You may in another class, because I know in Spanish last year they did an oral report. But that was with Senor Torres, so I don't know if you'll do it this year. Okay, last one. Zadie, have you gotten to do one? Michaela, have you gotten to do one?
No.
Okay. So Michaela, number 8. Josie and Emmett create a poster. What is the verb in that sentence?
Create.
Create. It's in present tense now, but we want to make it future tense. So what do we need to do?
We add will in the beginning of create.
Good. So what should the sentence say? Sorry, Michaela. What should it say?
Joseph and Emmett
Emmett. Josie and Emmett.
will
Emmett.
create a poster.
Josie and Emmett. No L. Emmett. Josie. These are 2 names again. And Emmett will create a poster. Hey, so that's it. So now you're ready for the independent practice, which you may be able to finish most of. I will go ahead and pass it out. Girls at home, you can go ahead. I did resend it last night, I'm pretty sure. So you may already have it.
Does it say verb?
The directions say, indicate whether each sentence's verb is written in the past, present, or future tense. So basically you're reading the sentence. Did it happen in the past? Find the verb. Did it happen in the past? Is it happening right now? Does it end with ing or s or nothing, but no will? Or is it happening in the future? Is the word will before it? If it's happening in the past, remember it's going to have what letters at the end? If it's happening in the past, what letters is it going to have at the end? Lena? ED. Very good. If it's happening in the present, what's one thing it might have at the end? Smith?
ing.
ing. Or it might have what letter at the end? Mason? S. Or it might have nothing. But what's the difference between a verb in the future tense and a verb in the present tense with nothing at the end? What's the difference? How will you be able to tell between a present tense verb with no S at the end and a future tense verb? Michaela?
The future will have will at the beginning.
Good. The future tense one will have will at the beginning. If it has nothing at the end and no will at the beginning, what is it? Victoria?
It will be
Present. So, also sometimes there may be words like tomorrow or tonight. There may not be, but look for those. That'll tell you right away. Okay, on the back. This is where it takes a little more effort. It's not harder. It just takes a little more effort. So which means you need to think a little harder. But remember, I can keep going when things are tough. I can put more time and effort. This side does require more effort, but you have all of the tools and information you need. Let me tell the directions. The directions say, circle the correct verb or verb phrase. Verb phrase means will sing, is singing. That's what a verb phrase is. Are dancing, am buying. What's another one? I think that's it. That's all it means. That's a verb phrase. The base verb with will, is, are, whatever. Does everybody understand what verb phrase means? So it's only going to be the verb and the word are, is, am, or will. Maybe were, but I don't know if were on here. No will. So you just pick. There's two options. Does everybody see how there's two options for each one? You have to circle the option that's correct. Inside the parentheses, there's two options separated by a comma. You have to pick the one that is correct, that works with the sentence. So you need to look for other words that tell you when. Like number 1, after the game, the players blank their equipment. What tells you when that's happening? Mason? No. What words in that sentence tell you when that's going to happen? Before you can choose the verb, you have to figure out when the sentence is happening. Colin?
after the game.
After the game. So is that happening now, in the past, or in the future if it's happening after the game?
Now.
Now? If it's saying after the game, would we be saying after the game, talking about right now? Like I just finished my soccer game and I'm going to say after the game I'm going to do this, but it just ended. Or it's still happening. Or like, would I say that?
No.
Zadie?
It would
When does that tell you it's happening? Past, present, or future?
future.
Future. Because I'm saying after the game is over. Maybe I'm in the middle of the game. Maybe the game's almost over. Maybe the game's happening tomorrow. But no matter what, when will after the game be? Michaela?
In the future.
In the future. So you have to pick the correct future tense form. Is that are packing or will pack? Which one is future tense? Victoria? Will pack. And then you circle the correct verb or verb phrase, then write the sentence using the other one. So what you're going to do, you know for number 1, you pick will pack. So that means for the second part of number 1, you need to come up with a sentence that will use are packing. Okay? That's all you have to do. Any questions? Mason? No, you do not have to do the bonus, but you do have to do number 2. Does everybody see number 2 down at the bottom? You will need 3 colored pencils. It says color each puck to show the matching numbered sentence tense. So that's the one you circle. So number 1, we already figured out it's going to be future tense. So what color are you going to color number 1? The puck for number 1. Zari.
Future tense is going to be green.
So you're going to color it green. You're not coloring the puck the color of the sentence you write yourself. You're coloring it the one that they gave you. So number 1, we know after the game means in the future. That means we're picking will pack, which means we're coloring the hockey puck for number 1 green. Okay, so go ahead. You have about 5 minutes to start now. And then you'll finish it. You just have to finish it by Wednesday. Yes, Zadie.
Can we do this side first?
That's up to you. It just needs to be completely done by Wednesday morning. Yes, Kingston.
So we have to finish this on so you have to finish this on when you don't finish it?
It's due Wednesday morning. What's tomorrow? Is tomorrow Wednesday morning? So does it have to be finished tonight at home?
No.
No.